What's going on, guys? Welcome to my GSD vlog series. This is entry number 4. So I'm a little late to the party this week. I was supposed to have a video out on Tuesday. I got really pressed for time, so thankfully, Alberto picked up the slack for me, and he put out a great video on eating out while prepping, which, by the way, you will not see me doing, with my next prep, which is about to begin the first week of June. I really want to maximize my potential and squeeze every last drop out of me, and I want to take, I want to leave no stones unturned. So basically, I'm really kind of having that mindset, the GSD mindset, get shit done. So I want no regrets at the end of my prep. I don't want to say, oh man, I shouldn't have ate out as much as I did, and things like that. Of course, I plan on celebrating life events like birthdays and, anniversaries, special date nights, things that are going to be planned in advance where I can manipulate my protocols in order to make those things fit. So that's something that I definitely did pretty well in 2014. But when it came down to crunch time, closer to that show date, basically I had to sacrifice. And I think, the last prep and some of my Godfather videos, I preach the balance, but I think balance often gets misread, I think. When I say balance, I don't mean what you can get away with. It's more about priorities, putting family first, work first, just those more important life things ahead of bodybuilding. But we are in an extreme sport, and we're trying to take our physiques to insane conditioning levels. That means you're going to have to sacrifice. So some things will get sacrificed, and for me that means hey, I'm not going to go out to eat, make it a regular part of my protocols. I'm going to keep full power, full control in my own hands. That way I maximize my potential, and at the end I have no regrets whatsoever. I just say, what, I either got shit done or I didn't, and it all falls on me one way or the other, but at least I know that I did everything in my power to maximize my potential. So that's really important to me this coming season. So let's talk about basically where I'm at right now. Like I said, we got maybe 2.5, 3 weeks left of this off season. My strength levels are pretty much where I need them to be. Again, coming back from some setbacks at the end of March and in the beginning of April, where I had vasectomy, and then I had a sinus infection and things like that. So I'm kind of back to full speed now, which is really good. So I'm at a great place in my training now. So when I do go to start my prep, creating that caloric deficit, that my strength levels are where it should be. So I'm not trying to play catch up or anything like that. So yeah, I'll definitely fill you guys in more as far as the actual protocols in a couple weeks time when I put out that week's video. I'll kind of give you guys the setup as far as how I'm starting the prep, and then kind of the game plan. And of course, when you start a game plan, at some point you probably will have to make adjustments, because nothing hardly ever goes according to plan. Nothing is perfect, doesn't always fall in line, but I'll give you guys kind of the insights to the game plan, and then the starting protocols. So the other thing I wanted to really touch on was, I know some people like on Instagram that follow me, because that's where I usually post a lot of my training and stuff, that my approach to training is pretty conservative. I would say a lot more conservative than it used to be compared to like when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I was more aggressive in the gym, more assertive, took more risk, and I got lucky that I didn't get injured. I think, just looking back in hindsight, I was pretty lucky. So now, now that I'm approaching 45 next month, that my approach is pretty conservative. I'm not in a rush to increase loads. Of course, I try to increase loads at times, try to increase my volume at times, but really, I want to ensure that my safety is a priority and I'm not getting injured, because now I'm at this age, I'm experiencing a little more aches and pains, more so due to wear and tear over the years, more so than like acute injuries. But when it comes to my deadlifts, I think my approach with that, I wanted to share that. Just it's like my way of approaching the deadlift to ensure that I stay safe moving forward. So right now, I'm currently working with 405. Like that's the load I've been working with. And instead of trying to look to increase loads, every week or every other week or anything like that, my game plan is basically just to stick with 405, because right now I'm really efficient with it. It feels really comfortable, really good. It still feels decently heavy. 405. It's not over the top heavy. Of course, there's guys out there that can just lift crazy amounts of weight off the floor, but 405 is not light either. So it's a nice weight for me. And right now with my last week, I did 405 for 3 sets by 7 reps. And then this past session, which I'll show you the highlights at the end, or actually I'll just show you the entire 3 sets. I did 3 sets by 8 with 405. So I increased a rep over last week. And the goal moving forward is, to get 9 reps next week, and then hopefully I can get 10 reps, the week after. And then once I get 3 sets by 10 with 405, instead of increasing load, what I'm going to do is just reduce the reps back down to like 6 or 7, and then keep the load the same, and then add in a 4th set. So then the goal will be 405, 4 sets by 6 or 7 reps, and then just build the reps up from there, while doing 4 sets. So, over time, even though the load is the same, I'm still getting quite a bit more volume actually. So projected, like if I was to get, let's say I cap out, 405, 3 sets by 10, the volume would be 12,150 pounds. And then if I eventually get to 405, 4 sets by 10, the volume is 16,200. So that's over 4,000 pounds moved. So that's quite a bit more volume. And to think what that can potentially do to my physique, moving more, more volume, that, I can only get better. And that kind of look back over the years is that even though my strength levels haven't like gone crazy over the years, just slowly over time, I've kind of racked up what I like to call it pennies. Like I just keep depositing these pennies, one at a time, and they keep going into what I like to call my physique account. So it's like a savings account. I keep racking up these pennies. Physique just keeps getting better and better and better. So it's a nice little savings account. And by having this approach where I'm efficient with that load, like 405, I just keep getting more and more efficient with it. It looks like I try to make each rep look the same. For the first rep or the last rep, it looks relatively the same. So my efficiency is really good. And because of my efficiency is really good, the form, technique, I feel pretty safe. It's in my opinion a little bit more safe than if I was more geared towards chasing the loads. And as a bodybuilder, especially in aging, I'm not old, but an aging bodybuilder, I think, I rather prefer to err on the side of being conservative in order to kind of maximize my longevity. So that's kind of my approach, with the deadlift right now, is just, focus more so on increasing reps and set, but not so much the load. And so far it's been working really good. So we'll kind of see how this pans out. I know once I start getting into the 4 set territory that it's going to beat me up a little bit more, and I know that's going to take a lot out of me, and sort of my recovery might not be able to keep up with that pace. So that's something I kind of have to wait and see once I get there, because I know with this last session, it did beat me up pretty good, and my lats, for some reason, my lats are just like they hurt. They're in pain. So not I did this 2 days ago, so I'm still feeling the effects of it. So, and this was 3 sets by 8. So to think like, okay, if I get up to, let's say, 4 sets by 10, what's that recovery going to look like? And also I also have to think about is that by the time I do potentially get to 4 sets by 10 with 405, that I'm going to be in a deficit, because I will be prepping. So the recovery, I have to think about that too, is that I'm not going to be eating the same amount of food that I am now. So recovery might not be as good even then. So I guess in a nutshell, what I'm saying is potentially I might not even be able to get to that much volume because the recovery the recovery and the food levels and all that might not be there at that time. So who's to say that maybe 405, 3 by 10 at that point would be sufficient. It would get the job done. So that's kind of how I go about things. I look at things. In my opinion, it's kind of I try to keep it dynamic and really kind of assess how I'm performing, how I'm recovering, and all those good things, and kind of make and manage it the best way I can in that given time frame. So hopefully that helps give you some insights as to kind of how I handle at least my deadlifts for the time being. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next week.